Sedaghatfar, attorney of counsel to the Cochran firm. Cromwell Brown, TV host. So, Anahita, that is sworn testimony on the stand. We have the man that exposed him to all this laughing about it. Tom just testified, or just gave us that bit of detail. I think I'm angry about this. I mean, whatever the facts are, $100 million seems crazy, but I'm angry that the insolence of the guy that would expose somebody to what he reports under oath was a very damaging experience. Yeah,
you should be angry that someone was laughing about that. This is a gross invasion of privacy, Dr. Drew. He is a man having consensual sex in the privacy of his bedroom. He doesn't know he's being videotaped. I don't care if he's a celebrity. I don't care if he's on every TV show, every radio show talking about sex, being salacious. That does not give them the right to do what they did. And I hope this jury sympathizes with him. I think he came across very sympathetic in that testimony. I think there's presumed emotional distress damages, even if he didn't seek therapy.
55 million?
I can't quantify it.
No.
I hope it's enough. I hope it's enough, like the Aaron Andrews jury, enough to teach this Gawker website and other media outlets a lesson that this really is not okay.
And one of my big things is that.
So, Anahita, that was a close friend of his. Maybe that was not a good choice. Maybe he was doing something bad in this tape, so we all feel sort of righteous indignation. But his privacy was profoundly violated here.
Exactly, it was. And I think that the argument the defense is making, well, he went on TV, he went on Howard Stern, he was talking about sex, he was talking about the sex tape.
Is it legitimate for him to hide behind the character? Legitimate or illegitimate?
I'm not confused by the distinction. I believe there is a public persona and I believe there is a private persona, which is who he is. I don't think the distinction is necessary in this case, though, Dr. Drew, because here's why. You do Love Lines. You do a show called Love Lines. You talk about sex. You talk about all kinds of personal things. You've even talked about, some of your sex life issues on that show. Does that mean?
He was listening carefully, evidently.
Yeah, through the years I have. So that doesn't mean that because of that you've waived your right to privacy as to what happens in your bedroom. I think it's a preposterous argument.
No, and I think if you take it to the extreme, a porn star would then have zero privacy.
We all should be concerned.
Anybody on television.
Anybody on television. Anybody in general.
And we all talk about our lives.
He didn't know he was being recorded. I think that's the glitch.
Bottom line here. I think we got Terry's back. Terry got your back. We don't have Hulk's back necessarily, though Anahita does. Aaron, thank you for your expert testimony. Not under investigation, Anahita. Is that a little defensive to you, or do you buy it?
You know what? I don't know what to make of this case. The investigation's not complete. The police don't even know how the fire was started. They say he's not a suspect. He hasn't been arrested. And, yeah, to the extent there are some inconsistent statements he may have made.
Let's look at what they are. He said he was putting the family to bed, all in the same room, when he heard a loud noise. But he's also said he was asleep and then always woke him up. Karama, buying it? Okay, well.
So what? Is that a material difference in his statements that he made? My understanding is that it could be possible they could have all slept in the same bedroom that one night. It didn't mean that the girls didn't have their bedroom. So I think it really matters what the statements are. Can they be explained away, and are they material?
Well, material, Lisa, how about those?
You're doing all this stuff. You are guilty in my eyes, and I do not appreciate it.
Anahita, no.
I don't even think we're close to making that leap as to his guilt or innocence, Dr. Drew. And let's talk about the 3 dogs. So apparently he did call the police months before this fire took place and said, I'm worried there might be a carbon monoxide leak, or my alarm is not working.
Did that kill the dog?
That possibly could have killed the dog.
How about after dog number 1 dies, you get a carbon monoxide detector?
Apparently he did, and he was saying that it was not working, and that was his fear. But to suggest guilt or even innocence at this point, I just think it's premature. They don't even know what the cause of the fire was
Anahita,
yet.
what is your Twitter handle so people can go after you right now? But before they do, let me bring in my expert. Anahita was literally scoffing at what you were saying. She was literally going,
It's true. The firefighters couldn't even get into the house, Dr. Drew. That's how severe this fire was. So I think, again, we don't know either way. Let them conduct their investigation. Let's find evidence. Is there a motive? We haven't even heard if there's a possible motive. Not that it's legally.
Got some more stuff going on. Let's keep.
It just adds to me believing that he needs to be investigated.
Not Anahita, though. She'll have none of it.
I'll have none of that. But I'd be interested to see what the toxicology report shows of the victims, of the wife and because it could be possible, and I read something about one of the medications she was on had side effects that made her very drowsy.
Sure.
And also one of the daughters, so perhaps that could have been a reason why they couldn't react in time or couldn't get out. I'd be interested to see that.
Ask a question of our expert.
That's great. That's great evidence for him. I never heard that tape, but that certainly explains away the calls that he made and the dogs dying. And this
Maybe.
was 2 years before. Is the suggestion that he planned this for 2 years, Dr. Drew? I'm going to plan this fire and I'm going to plan it 2 years ahead and call the police and say the detector isn't working?
No, but it shows he's
Be explained away like a lot of the other evidence. So I'm saying at face value, a lot of things do seem suspicious. We saw this with the hot car dad case. A lot of things that we heard that the detective said he saw, it turned out it wasn't true. There's explanations.
I don't think you want to compare this to the hot car dad case if you're trying to defend this
We're
guy.
not trying to compare it to that, but I think it's a good case to exemplify that things can't be taken at face value.
All right, next, no one called. Things were actually not just recorded, but then uploaded onto Facebook, and we've been showing them to you here. But Anahita, you sort of recoiled when I said that there's no liability here. Do you think there is?
There is no liability. There really isn't. For the bystanders, I think the ones that beat her, that's assault and battery. They should be criminally charged.
As juveniles?
Well, possibly adults. That looks pretty egregious, in my opinion.
So wait, now hold on here. So the more violent, the more egregious. Again, this is Facebook video we're looking at here. The more egregious, the more violent, the more likely you're going to be tried as an adult?
That's one of the factors the courts will look at when making that decision. But Dr. Drew, I want to say this. I blame social media for this epidemic that we're seeing. I think a lot of this is driven by social media because these kids are more concerned about capturing these videos on their cell phones so they can post it on Facebook, get the likes so the videos can go viral. I think that's what's driving a lot of this bad behavior.
Now, hold on. Now we have the moms. This is something that's sort of encouraged. You had a question, Anahita?
Absolutely. We know the physical damages that she sustained. What about the emotional impact on this girl?
Look, just having to face down I guarantee you, in this moment, she thought she might die. Yeah. And humans, when experience, they get an overwhelming parasympathetic shutdown to their body, and it changes their brain chemistry, and people will develop an acute stress reaction,